Good morning, everybody. Unfortunately, I just got a message from Eric Sanders, and he's not going to be able to join us. But I was literally about to go live, and rather than cancel the show, I've prepared a lot of material that I wanted to share with people. So I figured we'll just go through it. I wanted to get Eric's input. He's a former NYPD officer and an attorney, and basically want to take people through a bunch of evidence, so it would have been helpful to have him with us, but he's got some kind of legal pressing matter. You know, lawyers are busy, so unfortunately we lost him for this morning. But I think a lot of people saw the other day, I was in Washington Square Park, and there was a YouTuber, I think his name is I Show Speed, is the guy. I wasn't familiar with him before the other day, and it was an interesting encounter that took place there in the park. If people were watching, here, let's have a look at that. If people were watching, they would have seen this was this Jeffrey Epstein X-Files episode. And so about 50 minutes into the episode here, I went to the park, Washington Square Park. Let's give a listen to what they had to say in the park there.
Could have presented that, but they haven't. Instead, what they did is they got closer to that crime. System design. What's going on here? Got a lot of cops. Something wrong?
No, there's a YouTuber that's in the park, so his fans are all here.
Wow. So that YouTuber gets all these police? That's amazing. Nice hat. Is that standard issue?
Now let's notice this guy who appears at about 48 minutes. He's wearing a really bright kind of orange Under Armour shirt. We'll call him Under Armour Kid. There he is. Here he is. He's walking. Now let's just pay a bit of attention to him because he's kind of on the phone, looking at his phone. He's not paying any attention to me. He looks right at me. He walks right past me. Let's look at him again. So 48 minutes into this video, this kid's not interested in me at all. He looks right at me, walks right past me, says nothing. So anyway, I proceed into this crowd. I'm noticing, I mean, they've really kind of taken over the park. There is a pretty large crowd there. Seems like more police than this crowd would necessarily warrant, but okay, maybe the police are being careful. They're not telling anybody you can't ride bikes, which is, you're not allowed to ride bikes in this park. Let's listen.
Yeah, this might be me. Back up.
Who are you?
Guy grabs me and says, back up.
Don't put your hands on me.
He's here, we're here.
Sorry.
So he says he's security. You know, who is this guy and what authority does he have to physically manhandle me? He grabbed me and said, back up. So that's assault. You're not allowed to go around New York City grabbing people. I was annoyed by that, so I walk up to this guy who seems to be some kind of executive with the NYPD.
Are you with the cops? I don't care. You're in public. You got people over here saying there's security assaulting me, cops all around the park, people riding skateboards. What the fuck are the cops doing here? Because they're not enforcing the law.
Are you injured?
Huh?
Are you injured?
I'm not injured. I asked you a
See how he
question. What are you
deflects?
guys doing here? You're not enforcing.
First he deflects. He doesn't answer the question. He says, are you injured? And then I say, I'm not injured. I asked you a question. And then he says, what's the question? So he's not paying attention to what I'm saying to him. He's got an agenda in his mind of get this guy out of here.
Huh?
Are you injured?
I'm not injured. I asked you a question. What are you guys doing here? You're not enforcing the law.
We're here for this event that's happening right now.
Well, you're doing a very ineffective job because there's people in there claiming to be security committing.
I've seen this guy before. This guy, I think, is the community affairs officer with the 6th Precinct. I think if I go back in my own video library, I'm going to have a video where this guy introduces himself to me and presents me with his business card. But he's obviously clearly annoyed with me. Let me let this play out here.
Assault, and you're standing here yakking it up doing.
Okay, so the video cuts right there. And what's interesting is, when I'm live streaming, there's a delay of about 30 seconds between what's happening in the real world and what everybody sees on the live stream. So I want to go to a piece of video that people might not have seen, which is locally recorded as I am live streaming. Do I have it here? Oh, maybe. Oh, you know what? We might have it on Odyssey. I thought I had brought it over. Wait a minute. Maybe not. Let's check Odyssey. So there was a little bit of an encounter that took place after that, where that kid in the orange clothing walked up to me. And of course, the question we're asking here is the NYPD somehow employing illegal hacker technology to basically do stuff that they shouldn't be doing? Now, Odyssey allows me to upload, I think I did replace this video with the final recording. So let's advance to that same spot with this guy. He asked me if I'm injured.
We're here for this event that's happening right now.
Well, you're doing a very ineffective job because there's people in there claiming to be security committing assault, and you're standing here yakking it up doing nothing.
Okay, so I walk away, and there's this kid.
I don't want to be on camera. I don't give a fuck.
You know the vibes. Be outside with the on-camera.
So what does he say to me? Boz, be outside with the on-camera. What kind of, slack-jaw nonsense is that Scooby-Doo looking idiot talking about? So I found it very, very strange because the second that kid walked up to me, the live stream was cut. And that's just a little bit too coincidental for my taste. There are certain logs in the iPhone that you can look at. And also there is a diagnostic tool within the live streaming software. So I was looking at the diagnostic tool there, and it shows that exactly 352:02, this is the process, killed. This is my live streaming software giving me a report. Now there's a more extensive diagnostic report that I can get to, but we won't get into that right now. But basically, this just says that the process was killed. You can see that the previous video here, or the previous launching of the software, was normally terminated by me, so there's just no message at all. That's the regular behavior of the software. The fact that it says that it was killed means that something externally ended the process unexpectedly. And I think it was that kid. So you might say, oh, Jason, what did he do? If he's using a Stingray, which is sometimes called a dirt box, which is an IMSI catcher, that sort of thing works by broadcasting a cellular signal, simulating a cell tower. For people who don't know, your mobile phone works. You can travel all around the country talking on the phone and even go from cell zone to cell zone because the phone detects radio signals from towers. Let's ask Google, how does a cell phone work? Basically, you move around and it is receiving radio signals in cellular areas. It's divided up into sort of like circular areas. When you're nearby a cell tower, your phone picks up the strongest signal and communicates through that. Everybody has experienced a dropped call. That'll frequently happen if you are traveling between cell towers, cellular zones, and there is insufficient coverage. You're in an area where, there's sort of insufficient coverage, and the handoff between one cellular zone and another cellular zone doesn't quite work correctly. So you can see they have towers all over the place, and they create these sort of circular or approximately circular zones. When you are in a zone, you're getting a strong signal. When you're on the edge of the zone, you're not getting a very strong signal, and your phone will automatically detect the next strongest signal and switch to the next cell tower. You don't have to do anything. It does it all by itself. So the way a Stingray or an IMSI catcher or a dirt box or whatever you want to call this thing, the way it works is it simulates the radio signal of a cellular tower. So somebody operating one of these things can basically go near your phone and capture the signal of the phone. That's the broadcast signal that you are sending out from the phone. And the thing is, I'm not suggesting that that is what happened. Because the way that would work is if someone were using an IMSI catcher in a backpack, the way that would work is he would capture my signal. So look at this. This is Pacific Blue. They're selling an IMSI catcher backpack. Cellular devices are used for various nefarious activities, including terrorism, criminal activity, search and rescue operations, and much more. In the last 10 years, cellular devices are at the core of these negative activities, allowing criminals to... So what this does, this is an active cellular system, also known as an IMSI catcher. It provides the operators with the capability to extract cellular identities in a designated area of interest. It does a lot of things. What it basically does is it allows the person wearing this backpack to walk around and capture the signal for your phone. So just as you're driving down the highway and you're talking to someone on the phone from one tower, when you switch to another tower, that next tower is carrying your phone call to the phone network and connecting you to the person that you're talking to. The way an IMSI catcher works is it will intercept the signal being broadcast from your phone, and it can do a number of things. If the police don't want the broadcast going out anymore, the signal can terminate at that backpack. Basically, it acts like a tower that captures your phone, and then that's it. The broadcast goes nowhere. The other thing that it could do is it could record all of that data that you're broadcasting and then send it on to the internet so that you don't know that anything has happened. Now, I don't believe that that is what happened, because I happen to look down at my wrist. When I'm doing these live broadcasts, I have one phone on a gimbal, and people have seen some images from other people of me walking around. I have a phone on my wrist that controls my whole setup. And I happen to be looking down at my wrist when that gap-toothed, shaggy Scooby-Doo looking idiot walked up to me with his twang and whatever kind of patois he was saying to me. I looked down at my wrist and I noticed the screen went black, as if I had hit the sleep button on the side of the phone. But I didn't hit any button on the phone because I was holding, my other hand was occupied holding the other phone. So someone, or a coincidence, initiated a remote sleep on my phone, and that is what killed the process. So that struck me as a very odd and particular form of failure that I wanted to investigate further. Now, a lot of people might say, oh, Jason, your battery on the phone probably died. That must have been it. I thought of that, and I thought that people would say that that might be the occurrence. Let's watch this.
Can people see that? 4:15, 4:14, September 3rd, minutes after an incident that just occurred in Washington Square Park. God damn it, I'm hitting all the wrong buttons here. And I just want to show everybody the phone was turned off, and it wasn't due to low battery. You can see right here, the battery is still at 100%. And so there's no way it could have even been...
Did people see that? My point is, there's the battery, 100%. So if the battery had died 20 some minutes before, there's no device that I know of that can charge the phone. I mean, certainly not while I'm walking around. This is the wrist phone. And you see, I've got it wired up. One of these wires connects to a battery that's also strapped to my wrist that powers this whole setup for a little more than an hour before it even touches the iPhone battery. This video had been going for something like 52 minutes. It was started at 3, and at 3:52, gap-toothed, shaggy Scooby-Doo kid with the Under Armour shirt comes up to me and does what he does. And so I hadn't even depleted the auxiliary battery. That's why this iPhone battery was at 100%. I could have gone for another hour or two before the battery would have died. There was no thermal event on the phone. That would have been recorded in the iPhone's own internal logs. And as I was walking home, it occurred to me that I really feel like the NYPD did something here. And this might come into my existing lawsuit against the NYPD. It might be the cause of another lawsuit against the NYPD. So I wanted to have this contemporaneous video evidence so that they couldn't say, oh, his battery probably died at that precise moment, which would be coincidental on its face, but I really wouldn't be able to prove without that video that it wasn't a battery death. So people might be thinking, oh, if it wasn't an IMSI catcher and it wasn't a battery death and it wasn't a thermal event, what could it be? Well, I've spent kind of a lot of time thinking about this, and I've discovered that there is an IT security company called Oligo that, frankly, just this April 2025, discovered a Bluetooth security vulnerability in Apple's AirPlay stack, a Bluetooth stack that involves their AirPlay software that Oligo Security has dubbed airborne attack. And this is a very complex kind of attack. It involves somebody here. Let's take a look actually at Oligo software, the airborne wormable zero-click remote code execution, RCE, meaning you as the user don't have to click on a phishing email or go to a particular website to activate any kind of software. This is a remote code execution zero-click exploit, meaning someone can walk up to you and remotely execute code that causes something to happen on your phone. And it puts Apple and Internet of Things devices at risk. So Oligo Security Research has discovered a new set of vulnerabilities in Apple's AirPlay protocol and the AirPlay software development kit, which is used by third-party vendors to integrate AirPlay into third-party devices. So they're talking about, those little Apple, what do they call them? AirTags. Those are Internet of Things devices that are susceptible to this type of attack. And let's see, there's one other image here that I want to share with everybody. And your phone itself, which is running this AirPlay software, potentially, if you have it on, and also if you have Bluetooth turned on, which, I think a lot of people are walking around, including me, unfortunately sometimes, with Bluetooth turned on their phone. And basically what that means is if you have this AirPlay software active and running on your phone, which unfortunately I did, you can see that AirPlay was set to automatic and handoff and transfer to HomePod and continuity camera were on. Now, even though I had the AirPlay receiver turned off, these other features do make the phone susceptible to this type of remote code execution attack. And so we've basically got our buddies there at Oligo telling us that this is a zero-click remote code execution attack The access control list and user interaction is bypassed. Local arbitrary file reads, sensitive information disclosure, man-in-the-middle attacks, denial of service. This appears to be the most likely form of attack, that this kid could have been doing a Bluetooth denial of service attack, basically overwhelming the Bluetooth technology in my phone and causing it to just have some kind of crash. It says the vulnerabilities can be chained by attackers to potentially take control of the device that supports AirPlay, including both Apple devices and third-party devices that leverage the AirPlay software developers kit. The vulnerabilities and the attack vectors they enable have been named airborne by Oligo software researchers, as the attacks that they make possible are transmitted via wireless networks or peer-to-peer connections and allow attackers to take over devices and access as a launchpad for further exploitation. Oligo has demonstrated that two of the vulnerabilities allow attackers to weaponize wormable zero-click exploits. That means that an attacker can take over certain AirPlay-enabled devices and do things like deploy malware that spreads to devices on any local network. I don't know that that's what this guy was doing, but I think people can see that basically we know that there are vulnerabilities here on the iPhone that somebody coming up to you within Bluetooth transmission range could potentially execute. So there's another video that I had recorded that I don't think everybody got to see. Well, first of all, oh yeah, I do have the video there. Well, I could have played it locally. Okay, so I brought over the wrong video. Well, I had a blow up. Let's just look at it here. Here we got the video from the other day, and this is downloaded from the phone itself. So it goes all the way to the end after I'm talking to this guy. Okay, so there's the kid. Let's look at his behavior. Very strange. See where he's coming from? This is where the police are all standing. What is he doing hanging out with the police? And now, see, he was looking at his phone before. He's walking around the park. Is he receiving messages from the police? Are the police telling him, hey, there's a threat over here, there's a threat over there? Is this guy some sort of, private hacker type security hired by the police, not dissimilar to what they had at Twitter? He walks right up to me. But see, he's checking his phone. Almost like, are they sending him? There's cameras all over this park. Someone in a control room could have a picture of me, transmit it to this kid in real time. Maybe it's not a very good picture because he's got to look at his phone a few times to make sure he's approaching the appropriate old dude who maybe they all look the same to dummies like this. He looks at his phone, he looks at me. Maybe he's executing some code on the phone. Maybe he's launching his airborne attack. But, Bluetooth only works in pretty close proximity. And look at his backpack. It's pretty tightly strapped to his back. It looks pretty heavy. What's he got in there? It doesn't look like this dummy is going to school. So does he have books in there? Does he have some sort of thing like that IMSI catcher in there? I mean, I don't know. I'm admittedly speculating, but this is a hypothesis formed by looking at the available evidence. It's far too coincidental to me that the video cut out at exactly 3:52 p.m. when that kid approaches me. And of course, the video has a timestamp recorded on it as well. The log in the phone records that at 3:02, that's when the video cut out. And then I recorded this video. I didn't broadcast this, so this is the first time people are seeing this. Let's watch this.
Where'd that fucking guy go?
You make content. Don't be like this.
What's in this guy's backpack?
Probably food.
Probably not, Matola. Probably something that shut off my live stream.
Did
You don't have an IMSI? What are you fucking smiling at, Joel, you fucking
That's
asshole?
why you suck mad, Dick.
Joel,
Look
what did
at
you
you
do?
sucking mad.
Ha 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 ha! The police laughing.
Joel,
Look at you sucking mad.
Get
Dick.
this fucking guy away from me. He's chasing me. Back the fuck up, asshole! Excuse me.
Dick, look at
Tell this fucking guy to get out of here.
he's filming you as you are filming him.
Yeah.
No, he approached me and this whole
Hey,
thing
it's not gonna-
turned
The
off.
crowd's on the move here, Jason.
Oh, the crowd is on the move, Joel. You fucking asshole. You guys are doing a terrible goddamn job.
Look at those smug pricks. First of all, how does Sergeant Mottola know my first name? Obviously, the NYPD has researched who I am. People have seen, I've encountered Sergeant Joel Mottola many times. He's usually hanging out with crackhead Barney, and he's always behaving very strangely. We've also seen him hanging out with Orrin Levi. These are all civilians who seem to antagonize me. This guy, he's very emboldened, this kid in the Under Armour shirt. They all are talking to him pretty calmly. Let's evaluate Joel Mottola's behavior as this kid approaches me. And look, he's hanging out with the police. It's not like he went into the crowd and went about doing his business. We can see at the very beginning of this video, his shirt stands out. Let's look at that. The police are looking right at me. I'm saying, where is this guy? They're looking right at me. The guy in the suit, who's some kind of executive with the Community Affairs Division of the 6th Precinct. And here's the kid. He sees me right away. I'm thinking he's just gone off into the park. He's right there with the police. Executive guy, he's looking right at him. They know who the kid in the orange shirt is. He looks at me. This kid is saying, go make content, don't be like this guy. What is he doing? And I say, what is in his backpack? Listen to what Joel Mottola says.
This guy's backpack.
Probably food.
How does he know? Probably food. Why would he presume? Do the police jump to conclusions? Probably food. Look at the kid in the backpack. You can see it's heavy. It's tightly strapped to his back. Look at the straps on the backpack. If he had his lunch and his gym clothes in there, wouldn't there be like zero tension on the backpack? It's full. This thing is chock full of whatever is in it. You can see. He doesn't want me to see it. He's kind of hiding the backpack.
This guy's
as he walks
backpack.
around.
Probably food.
Probably not, Mottola. Probably something that shut off.
He laughs immediately when I say probably not, almost as if he knows what's in there and he can't control his response to me also knowing.
Not, Mottola. Probably something that shut off my live stream. You don't have an IMS.
Did it? He says like a wise ass. Now this guy who didn't want to be on camera, he looks quite satisfied that I'm being antagonized right now, doesn't he? This kid is coming towards me, telling me suck my dick. I mean, this is menacing. The police are encouraging this kid.
It's like, what are you fucking smiling at, Joel, you fucking
That's
asshole?
why you suck mad, Dick.
Joel,
Look
what did
at
you
you
do?
sucking mad.
Ha 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 ha!
Now this guy walks up and says, Joel, what did he do?
The police laughing.
Joel,
Look at you sucking mad.
Get
Dick.
this fucking guy away from me. He's chasing me. Back the fuck up, asshole!
So he's
Excuse me.
pursuing me.
Dick, look at
Tell this fucking guy to get out of here.
he's filming you as you are filming him.
Yeah.
No.
Why are the police making excuses for this guy? Why don't they say, sir, please leave him alone, stop chasing him around? Why would he do that? Doesn't make a lot of sense to me. The guest will not be joining, unfortunately. He said he had a legal something came up and he couldn't join me. So, I mean, that's the thing. I really did want Eric Sanders to join us to look at all of this evidence and to, help me sort of determine what is going on here. But as I said, he had a prior legal commitment. He couldn't join us. So basically this video, the police say, oh, the crowd is on the move. And they start...
You fucking
walking
asshole.
away.
You guys are doing a terrible goddamn job.
That executive guy looks really smug. This other police officer, he's sort of following me, watching the crowd. That guy was talking to Mottola, knew his first name, so he's a undercover police officer there doing something. Then, look, here's the crowd. And is that kid in the bright orange shirt wearing the color of the day? I mean, he's very visible. You're going to see him again He's no longer interested in me once the... There he is. There he is. Very close to our executive guy, who's also looking at a phone. So, I mean, the cops are always looking at their phones, but is it normal for them to be so closely hanging around one particular individual? There he is. He's walking right with them. You can see them right above me here. See those two guys? They're really walking closely with that kid. And the bright orange shirt makes him really easy to spot in the crowd. He's no longer interested in me at all. If he was just a miserable little prick, wouldn't he be coming after me? Look at this. He's even walking right towards me, not even looking at me. Wouldn't some asshole kid in the park who wants to antagonize that annoying old guy keep pursuing me? This kid is acting like a sentinel in the park. And I think he's using some sort of equipment in the backpack to launch these airborne exploits, these what are they called? These remote code execution exploits as identified by Oligo security here. A remote code execution attack. Now, can the NYPD just do that? Launch remote hacker intrusions on my phone? It seems like a violation of the computer, what is it called? Computer Intrusion Act? Computer Fraud and Abuse Act. That's what it seems like. I don't know. I mean, this isn't proof in court, but this is a hell of a lot of evidence, isn't it? It's very coincidental what happened with that stupid kid. Computer fraud, okay? Fraud related to activity in connection with computers. Having knowingly access to computer without authorization or exceeding authorized access, and by a means of such conduct, having obtained information that has been determined by the United States government pursuant to executive order or statute to require protection against unauthorized disclosure. I mean, that's going to the Atomic Energy Act, but the intentional access of a computer without authorization exceeds authorized access. It would be a violation of this. WZ says there's probably about 100 exploits to choose from. I agree with that. I mean, what I'm talking about are known exploits. What this person is talking about are things called zero-day exploits. Nobody knows. And WZPU says what's to stop them? They'll investigate themselves and their buddies to find no wrongdoing. I agree with that. But the point is the NYPD seems to regularly exceed their legal mandate and do whatever they want. Those guys looked very smug in that video, that executive and Joel Natola laughing at me, laughing when I asked what's in his backpack. I mean, if you knew that the kid had something in his backpack and he was your little hacker sentinel going around the park operating as security to stop people like me, the police obviously know. There are people going around live streaming, and if they're doing something they shouldn't be doing, who is that kid I show speed? And why is he like, I mean, if Justin Bieber wanted to have a concert in Washington Square Park, I presume he would make arrangements with the city and have to pay. I don't really know anything about I Show Speed. Maybe I Show Speed hired this guy. He's a 20-year-old guy. I Show Speed is Darren Jason Watkins Jr. Okay, so he's known online as simply Speed. So I saw he's racing people, he's doing backflips. I mean, whatever. This guy, it's fine. If that's what he wants to do to be famous on YouTube, he's a celebrity. Okay, so people like watching him on YouTube. And this is, like I said, Justin Bieber. I'm sure, Chopin would see Justin Bieber and say, oh, that's not music.
just like an actor or any form of entertainer might disparage this kid if his form of entertainment is going around doing flips, racing people. He'll run while somebody's on a skateboard, or he'll challenge people to races and push-ups and whatever. That's his gig. I'm not criticizing him. It's fine if he wants to come to Washington Square Park and do a live stream, and that's how he entertains people and gets fans. But it literally is on par to Justin Bieber or the Beatles or whoever comes to a location. Can you just shut down the park and get that kind of massive police presence? And by the way, what is different about this kid showing up in Washington Square Park and having his thug buddies grab me and say I'm security and physically remove me from a location? What's different about that versus Elon Musk having his bodyguards wearing concealed carry weapons and kicking me out of a space that I have every right to be in? They didn't have NYPD in there telling people, uniformed officers telling people don't go beyond this space. It's been closed off for a designated special activity. They just have some thug wearing a black jumpsuit grabbing me. That guy has no right to put his hands on me, and the police are trained for how to do this stuff. Ostensibly, they wouldn't put their hands on you. The very fact that they appear in a police uniform signals to a person that something official is going on here, and if a police officer says don't step beyond here, you understand the nature of that order. If a random guy in a black jumpsuit tells me not to do something, he has no authority to tell me what to do. People are saying they need to ID that kid. I would like to know the kid's identity. It could be probably done through a lawsuit against the police. Don't do it in public. If you want to send me a private message, if you know who that kid is, I'd like to know. I have a feeling I have a lawsuit here against that kid and the police. And in fact, I think I'd like to press charges. Obviously, the police won't do it, but if he has just intruded in my computer device, that kid might have committed a felony. Is that a felony? Violation of the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act can be a felony or a misdemeanor depending on the specifics of the conduct, motivation, and harm caused. Felonies are reserved for more severe offenses, such as accessing a computer for financial gain, to commit another crime, or to obtain information valued over $5,000. Primary factor is the intent behind the illegal conduct. Hacking with the intent to commit another crime or cause physical injury can elevate the charge to a felony. Accessing classified national security information is a felony. Attempting to access a protected computer without further action might be a misdemeanor, but successfully hacking and causing significant damage is more likely a felony. But what about violates the police violating my First Amendment rights and my Fourth Amendment rights? If the police violate your First and Fourth Amendment rights via a civilian, is that a felony? Violation of your First Amendment rights by a police officer is a federal felony offense known as deprivation of rights under color of law. This applies even if the underlying actions would not be a felony on their own. So this is a conspiracy against rights involving the police. I'm not an attorney, by the way. This is my opinion. This is why I wanted Eric Sanders with us, and I'm so disappointed that he couldn't join us. But I'm not asking for legal advice from Eric Sanders. I think this is an interesting case. Not able to join. Anyway, that's basically all the information I have about this right now, everybody. I thought people would find this interesting. And, well, right, Angie is saying maybe I'll see that smug kid more often. Well, we've got his number now. We know who he is. That kid saw you and did walk right for you. Did he have a mic in his ear? That's a good question. Let's take a look.
Did he have a mic in his ear? I mean, it would be almost impossible to detect these days, right? He could have wireless headphones. You know, he got his long shaggy hair there. Those sunglasses could even have a microphone in them. I don't know. It's impossible to tell from this video. But yes, certainly, Lorraine, he could be in communication. I mean, it certainly looks like he's in communication with the police, right? I mean, he walks up, he's standing right there where the police are. So I don't know if he even needs a microphone. He's looking at the cell phone, so he could be receiving text messages from them. He could definitely, and his hair is long enough that if he had wireless headphones in, we might not notice them. I would think. WZP says he's surprised the orange shirt doesn't have leaves growing out of him. He's such a plant. NJ17 is asking if they had permits. I don't know. I mean, I would presume maybe he does. But the point is, I'd like to know more about what is the nature of the permit. Is he allowed to have security assault me? You know, the police seem to play pretty fast and loose with these people who have money. And, you know, look, it's one thing. Like I said, if Justin Bieber wants to have a concert, if I Show Speed wants to do an event in the park, I'm sure there are provisions for, and I'm not denying the legality of any of these type of public figures to do that kind of thing. It's allowed to be done. The question is, if you go and have this kind of event, doesn't mean that you're suddenly allowed to commit crimes and have your security commit assault on people. Maybe I should sue I Show Speed. Find out if this guy worked for him. That might be the idea. We have his name now. I don't know. I mean, look, I got a lot of lawsuits going, but I don't like the idea that these guys think that they can just violate my rights. They can go around New York City doing whatever the hell they want. You know, it's kind of a problem when you get these 20-year-old people and give them all kinds of money and notoriety. They think they can do whatever they want. Johnson Kwok says paranoid and is asking if the guest will be joining. Well, I said at the top of the show that the guest will not be joining, and I don't think I'm paranoid. I'm assembling evidence that really, I believe, if we're talking about a civil suit, the preponderance of evidence in this case shows that this kid did something when he approached the phone. I've demonstrated that the technology exists. I've demonstrated that he was in proximity close enough that a Bluetooth attack would have functioned. Bluetooth has a range, I think, of 150 feet. What is the range of Bluetooth? Bluetooth range varies by device. So I've got one of the newest iPhones you can get, so it's going to have the best range available for Bluetooth. Older devices typically reaching around 30 feet, and Bluetooth 5.0 supporting up to 800 feet. So I'm pretty sure I would be closer to 800 feet. Maximum range is rarely achieved. So the kid is closer than 30 feet when he approaches me with his stupid, jibber jabber. I mean, he's 10 feet away from me right there. He's less than 100 feet right there. Come on. He's within Bluetooth range right here. Okay? So we know it's not me who came up with these zero-day exploits. It's Oligo, and they are a professional IT company. They know about zero-day exploits. I should contact them, actually, and ask them. Airborne wormable zero-click code execution. So this was identified in April, I think. Let's get some more information about this. Oligo Airborne. Let's look at the news on this. Oh, Wired. Look, they had a story about this April 29th. Researchers reveal a collection of bugs known as Airborne that would allow any hacker on the same Wi-Fi network. So this is a series of bugs. Some are Wi-Fi, some are Bluetooth. AirPlay is Bluetooth. Oh, you got to sign up to read Wired. Hackers.io, April 30th. HackRead, AirPlay, 23 vulnerabilities, Apple AirPlay affecting millions of devices. This is from May. "23 vulnerabilities." Also, so this has been known since. Data theft on iPhones. Cybersecurity firm has revealed major vulnerabilities. 17 security identifiers. Zero-click RCE. Yeah. Someone says, so Hack 5. What is that? We've got WZP saying Hack 5. Maybe that's a website. Hack 5 Airborne refers primarily to discussions and projects related to using Hack 5 tools for war flying. It's a practice of conducting wireless network surveillance from an aerial vehicle. It does not refer to a specific Hack 5 project. Huh. Airborne Wi-Fi security system. Yeah, I mean, I think the point is, even if I'm not correct about this oligo airborne vulnerability, everybody knows that there are businesses that sell people zero-day exploits. They're constantly looking for exploits. People remember I was talking about this guy, Matt Tate, and Matt Tate, he started a company called, what was it called? Yeah, here it is. So for some reason, Apple dropped the lawsuit. Cyber startup Corellium. Okay, so we've got to pay to look at that. Apple drops the lawsuit against virtualization firm Corellium. I don't know why they dropped the lawsuit, but Corellium was a company that created a virtual iPhone. See, one of the security features that Apple created to make it difficult to hack an iPhone is that when the phone detects that it's being hacked or certain behavior that is, reminiscent of hacking, it does what's called brick the phone, make the phone just not turn on. And what that does, because certain types of hacks, and I'm not a hacker, I'm not an expert, people who are watching almost certainly know more about hacking than I do, but one type of hack is called a brute force attack, where you just, computers can do things thousands and thousands of times over and over again. So if you were trying to figure out the combination to a lock by going through 3-number combinations, your fingers would get tired, you'd forget which combinations you try. Humans are limited in the number of times they can try a certain type of attack. But if you had a computer trying to figure out the combination of something, the brute force attack would be to just run through every combination, one after the next, after the next, after the next. And if you could do that 1,000,000 times or an unlimited number of times, it would only be a matter of time before a computer could run through every possible combination. So to prevent that type of brute force attack on an iPhone, trying every password until they get into your phone, you see, if you enter the password incorrectly 3 or 4 times, the phone says, oh, go away for an hour and come back and try again or whatever. They have certain things in there designed to prevent the phone from becoming susceptible to a brute force attack. So, if you are a sophisticated hacker trying to find these exploits in an iPhone, subjecting every single piece of it to this type of brute force attack to the point that the phone becomes a brick, you'd have to spend $1,000 or $699, whatever the phone costs, every time you wanted to do that. So what Corellium did is they created a virtual iPhone, software running on a computer that is an iPhone, essentially. You can run the iPhone OS on a computer program that makes the OS think it's running on an iPhone. And you can do a brute force attack on that, and when it locks up, you just restart your virtualization program and you have a new virtual iPhone with a new OS on it that you can attack again. Now, Corellium was saying, oh, we're doing this because we're trying to help Apple and the public, and we're going to find all these zero-day exploits and tell everybody about them. Which is funny because that's what Matt Tate's background was when he was working for, I think it was called Google Project Zero. Yeah, so here's Project Zero. And this was Google's team, after finding a number of flaws in software used by many end users while researching other problems, such as critical heartbleed vulnerability, Google decided to form a full-time team dedicated to finding such vulnerabilities, not only in Google software, but in any software used by its users. The new project was announced July 15th, 2014 on Google's security blog. When it launched, one of the principal innovations that Project Zero provided was a strict 90-day disclosure deadline. Okay, so basically what this is telling you is Google put together a team of elite hackers, and their job was to find these zero-day exploits and tell people about it. So Matt Tate is closely associated with the Brookings Institute and the Lawfare Institute, run by our friend Ben Wittes. Matt Tate was involved. I know about him because he was involved in this whole thing having to do with Peter Smith. We can see right here, he says that he worked at Google Project Zero. He previously was the CEO at Capital Alpha Security and a consultancy in the UK. He also worked as an information security specialist at GCHQ. That's the British equivalent of the NSA. And he's the chief operating officer of Corellium. So Charles Ortel and I had determined that this Capital Alpha Security was essentially a sham. We looked it up on a UK company's house and found that it basically was started with £1 and basically closed before it ever conducted any business. This is the UK Companies House government website, and we can start a search for Capital Alpha Security. This is Matt Tate's company. Oops, looks like we had a period in there that we don't want. Here we are. Okay. It's dissolved. Filing history. Here, let's look up people first to make sure we're looking at the right thing here. There it is, Matt Tate. Okay, one officer. Okay. Filing history. I seem to recall this thing. Accounts for a dormant company, Final Gazette. This thing basically was started with £1 never transacted any business, and then closed. So he's basically, hacking the corporation. He's a British engineer. He's the director. Great British pounds, amount paid per share. £1 per share. So he starts a company. This is, a shell company that he started to, I guess, add credibility to himself, saying he's a cybersecurity expert. This guy is a trickster, is what I'm getting at. So I don't trust Corellium software. He is warning people about stolen zero-day exploits. Well, it's a very convenient way of releasing lots of zero-day exploits, but this thing is allowed to operate. It was originally getting sued by Apple, but no longer. Virtual devices. Very interesting stuff. I don't know, that's pretty much all I have on this for right now. Anybody have any other questions? Yeah, why does he approach me if he's a mere... Well, and not only that, Angie, why does he approach me at that moment after I get into that discussion with that police executive guy? I walk away from him and he might immediately transmit, he could have people all over the park, police cameras all over the park, and the amount of time that I walk away from him, he could get on the radio and say, there's a guy coming at you right now. I want you to knock off his live stream. Who knows what happened? Yeah, the kid walks right up to me. I agree. I'm not being paranoid. He got right in my face. Yeah, Hack5 tracks and studies these things. Right. I think there's a lot of websites that do that. But anyway, I wanted to thank everybody for listening to this today. I hope you found it interesting. If you did, I hope you'll become a sponsor. You can sponsor Crowdsource the Truth by going to crowdsourcethetruth.substack.com. Sign up on there and subscribe. You can send a one-time sponsorship payment to paypal.me/crowdsourcethetruth. And you can also subscribe on subscribestar.com or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. Thanks, everybody. Have a great Friday, a great weekend, and watch out for those airborne hacks. If you aren't using Bluetooth on your phone, you might consider turning it off. You might consider looking at the AirPlay settings on your phone. If you don't use AirPlay, turn off handoff, turn off those other things, shut down the attack vectors that these malicious hackers could potentially use. And thanks for watching, everybody.